Hey, this is Matt once again. We're about to end a video, and this is a paid request for Vonte. Thank you so much for that. For those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, commentaries, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it. I'll get to it as soon as I can. And yeah, I don't know if I say I look forward to this because this is going to be depressing, of course. But thank you. I do appreciate it for the request. And like I said, if anyone wants to request any type of video, PayPal is usually the best bet, but yeah, I do have a Cash App. People have asked about that, and Patreon. All links are down below in info box. Like I said, I'll get to it as soon as I can. But he wanted me to react to a One Tree Hill, True Hollywood Story documentary, which is on Vimeo. But it's the True Hollywood Story on Brandon Lee, and it is on Vimeo. On other places to watch. It's 41 minutes and 7 seconds. I can't show the video because I know that YouTube definitely goes after those True Hollywood stuff and get it taken down, the footage. I don't know why. I mean, it's a documentary, and it's not like you don't impede on the sales of True Hollywood DVDs because there aren't any being made. But, you know, it's all that hypocrisy. But I'll pause at the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. True Hollywood does do a good job. A lot of times you'll get a lot of people who are involved. You see a bit more of the truth in there. He was poised to become a top Hollywood star. The Crow would definitely have elevated him, and there's a lot of talks of various projects. Maybe a sequel to Rapid Fire, some action films that he might have been a part of. I know at one point the Wachowskis thought maybe Brandon Lee could be in the Matrix. Whether that worked out, who knows? But .44 caliber bullet right through his abdomen on the set The Crow. I remember that Entertainment Weekly cover. That first one where he has his picture on the bottom there. And there's a lot of talk of curses and conspiracies. It's just bad fate. Here they're talking about negligence. Wow, they got Powers Booth to talk about. That's cool. I like his response. Rest in peace to Powers Booth. Wonderful actor. He was in Rapid Fire with Brandon Lee. But I like his... Oh, Dolph Lundgren is in this too? That's cool. Because he worked with Brandon Lee on Shota Tokyo. But I like Powers Booth's reaction. I don't believe in this curse bullshit. Just someone was out of line. Meaning someone was negligent. And Dolph Lundgren was talking about how, you know, how tough it would be to try to get out of the light of your father, which is Bruce Lee. And that's Linda Lee. I mean, think about Linda Lee, man. Like, lost her husband when he was only 30-some. Lose her son. Wow, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Spread to intelligence, but not really authorities. Ah, David Carradine. Ernie Hudson. pressure, we get behind, and sadly mistakes happen. Yeah, I think this his last interview he did, what they're showing. Sorry, I'm chewing. It just want to have something because I know it's gonna be so depressing. I remember when it happened, and I was really like, because when I was a kid, I was watching Showdown Low Tokyo. I would say I knew about Brandon Lee before Bruce Lee. I'm like, oh, who's this guy, Brandon Lee? Showdown Low Tokyo is probably the first I saw because I'm a big Dolph Lundgren fan. I'm like, oh, who's this guy? And, oh, now he's starring in the film Rapid Fire, cool. Hey, he's the son of Bruce Lee. I'm like, huh? Oh, okay, you know. 32, Bruce Lee died. It's crazy. That was Steve McQueen at the funeral there. So Brandon was the first child. Some nice home movies there. But yeah, Brandon Lee, like I said, I love Showdown Low Tokyo and Rapid Fire. Obviously, those are my two favorite Brandon Lee films. And I like The Crow. It's just tough to watch The Crow because knowing what happened and it happened during it. That's part of it's like, I wish that film was never made. That way that mistake would never happen and no one would have died. There's the thing, if it wasn't Brandon, if someone else was cast, then they would have died. If the same events happened. Shannon. Which I know she did a few movies too. But I'm not as familiar with her as I was with Brandon. That's cool they got Kareem Abdul-Jabbar to talk about it. That's what's that's one of the positives about the E True Hollywood stories that they could get a lot of people involved. Like Poltergeist, they got Craig T. Nelson, and they got a lot of people involved with that project that you couldn't get today. And now it's either they passed away, like David Carradine has passed away, Powers Booth has passed away. But here you get everybody. Like there was Shannon. That's the thing. Like everyone's going to think, oh, so you're the son of Bruce Lee? Are you as good as your dad? Huh? So 5 years old, he had to be on a show and break a board with a sidekick, and that pressure. Because if he didn't do it, then it's like, oh, guess he's not like his dad. But in my opinion, he got out of the shadow of his dad. in my opinion, because maybe just when I first saw him, I just thought him as Brandon Lee, not the son of Bruce Lee. And it's a shame because the amount of number one, he just seemed like a nice guy. You didn't hear anything bad from him. Seemed like a good guy. And number two, as a greedy fan, the amount of stuff we could have seen from him. We missed out. We missed out, man. I mean, as much as I love Keanu Reeves, Brandon Lee could have maybe gotten some of the roles Keanu Reeves did. I mean, Speed, the Crow was around the same time, but like The Matrix and John Wick and stuff like that. Like, think of this. What if he did The Matrix? Then he did the trilogy. Then what if you also had Chad Stahelski there and met with him and became friends with him? Then later on, when Chad Stahelski and them did all those movies, I say, hey, what about Brandon? Well, I worked with Brandon for a while. And then what if then he did John Wick? And then it's him with Scott Adkins and all these other guys. Yeah, that's the thing. Is like 8-year-old lost his dad, and I mean he would do movies like he did a movie in Hong Kong, which I couldn't get into because he was dubbed for some reason, which I didn't understand. Like he could speak English. Why is he dubbed? Why can't I not hear his voice? It's distracting. It's too distracting for me. And he did that Laser Mission, which is an awful movie. That's a movie I couldn't get through. I tried to watch it once. I couldn't get through. It was so boring. But yeah, Showdown Low Tokyo. Oh, he did that Kung Fu the movie with David Carradine. Which is ironic because people say like the TV show Kung Fu was meant for Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee came up with the idea, and then they gave it to David Carradine because Hollywood didn't want an Asian guy in the lead. Yeah, how do you translate to a 8-year-old kid, hey, your dad's gone? I wouldn't know how to do it. Probably a lot of confusion. Yeah, there was a lot of controversy with Bruce Lee's death. Yeah, like you said, the mob killed him. He was murdered. He overdosed on drugs. People can't handle the simplest things. Like, no way, this guy was a Superman of Kung Fu. Just a... No, allergy can't be allergy. That's too boring. As dumb as it's too boring of a death for Bruce Lee. When's... Well, I can't blame Brandon Lee if people told Shiv, you're dead, dad. Of course he's going to fight him. I'd fight him too. Fuck them assholes. Dickheads. Well, yeah, of course it would hurt a lot. I can't blame him. I mean, you hear about, so much. It's like you get tired of it. It's like, yeah, can't blame him for it. Broke his arm twice, damn. Thankfully, I've never had my arm broken yet. I say that, but let me just say yet. So don't do it to mock. And I'm not. I'm saying that as I'm lucky that hasn't happened. I also understand that thing where he's like, stop talking about it because it's hard to think about constantly. Like, there's a part that just wants to forget it, not because you didn't care, but because it hurts a lot to keep thinking. And it's like, I already know, I already think about it enough as is. Just like your psyche wants a bit of time off from it. Hmm. Chadwood School in L.A. Huh. So you pull a lot of jokes in school, practical jokes. Yeah, in school plays. So he wanted, train himself to be an actor, and he was a good actor. And I remember these E True Hollywoods being very well structured. Like they were able to find a lot of stuff, like home movies, right there, the school play. They try to be as thorough. Well, I guess it depends which program. Some as thorough. I know my friend Fabio talked about the Phil Hartman one, which I didn't see. I saw his review of it, and apparently in that, like they kind of skip a lot of the Phil Hartman movies he was in. They concentrate much more on his death. This I'm glad they concentrate more on what his life was before that death. So like this, they're talking about his school life. I do like and appreciate that. Although we only have 24 minutes left, we still gotta get to the some of the movies. But then I don't talk in depth of the movies, sadly. Disrespect for authority. Hmm. Hmm. So you want to so you left Emerson College and tried to get into acting. John Lee Hancock. That sounds familiar, John Lee Hancock. That name does sound familiar. Hmm. Yeah, cool to see all this old footage of him, his old like plays. In this case, being a prisoner. Ah, Dan Inosanto. Yeah, that's the respect I have for Brandon. He didn't want to use his father's name. He tried to use his father's name and get easy connections. Because if he did that, he'd just say, starring the son of Bruce Lee. And he would get starring roles in lower budget action movies. He didn't do that, though. He did on his own 2 feet. So, huge respect for that. Huge respect for that. Andre Morgan, huh? So, Legacy or Rage, you got $250,000. Hmm. If I said you were too blonde with nice tits, how would you feel? Laser Mission. And then, okay, Kung Fu the movie. That's funny, I was just saying how ironic. Just saying that show was meant for. Oh, David Carradine. That's. I trained with Dan Inosanto. Showing Little Tokyo with Dolph. Nice to have Dolph talk a little bit about it, saying that Brandon was a natural. Oh, this is cool. So this is raw video that he shot of like what we could do with the action, what kind of fights we could do, what kind of choreography we could do. So Pop was giving him credit, like, yeah, a lot of people can do martial arts, but yeah, a little bit of something here, a little bit extra. And like the Crow, like he gave a very good performance in that. Even Rapid Fire, he did. It just he was helping his friends get into the business. That was nice of him. Yeah, I figured they wouldn't talk a whole lot about the other movies. I mean, they mentioned them briefly, but well, I'd like to have heard more from Powers Booth, more from Dolph Lundgren. Hmm. Sorry, I keep bouncing the desk. So that's nice. There's a story of him helping his friend who was dying, and then helped when he passed away, helped the guy's family. Hmm. Hmm. So he lived a bit of a daredevil life, loved his motorcycles. Till found a girl, a little bit of support system, a little bit of hanky poontang pie. So wow, even in '91, what was it? I think '91. He's like, yeah, we're doing the Crow next. Oh, cool. Yeah, Rochelle Davis. I know my friend Fabio met her and said she was a very nice lady, and had a lot of good stories about Brandon. No, was it Fabio? Was it? Yeah, I think it was Fabio. I think it was him. Yeah. So yeah, the difficulties of making the Crow. Definitely his most ambitious. Oh god, and he was going to get married. Reminds me of the movie cliche where the cop says he's 3 days till retirement. Think of that Simpsons, McBain, Mendoza. But sadly, this is the reality. So he's going to get married after the movie. Last time talked to him, said goodbye, mom, I love you. Definitely need more of this Twizzler. Eight days away from completing. And then I think they said this is the last scene for gunplay. Complete negligence and laziness. So yeah, Entertainment Weekly reporter, okay. So this is from a press conference with the doctor. So they called the mom and said, well, we're able to fix this aorta. Repair. Oh my god. Yeah, I remember the conspiracies. They used live ammo to mate their dummy. I like that they had a gun expert there. How the hell no one was brought to jail trial for negligence? Ridiculous. Gotta be kidding me. And sadly, that wasn't the case, because look what happened on Rust with Alec Baldwin. And then, person died. Negligence, people don't know what they're doing. That's the biggest killers. The biggest killer is stupidity. That may be the biggest killer is stupidity in an individual. Stupidity. I think because like these things are with the commercials are like 40 some minutes. It's a lot of stuff to talk about in a little amount of time. Hmm. Now, of course, Brandon Lee's talking about this in the interview because he's talking about The Crow, which is a movie about a guy who dies and then comes back. So that's why he's talking about this. But then the irony is that this is the reality for him. It all seems limitless, but how many times are you going to see the moon? How many times are you going to see the sunrise? How many times are you going to do whatever? Which is true. March 31st, 1993, passes away. What is this music? Music sounds like a horror movie. I'm sure on purpose. Very emotional music here. Like ethereal music. Well, that was depressing. But I mean, you know what? I'm glad Vonte requested that. But it was cool because it was cool to see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dolph Lundgren, Powers Booth, David Carradine. You know, David Carradine, Powers Booth no longer with us, so it was nice to see that. I wish we could have seen more of that. But again, these programs are pretty short for having to instill an entire history of a person's life. You know, to talk about in that running time, but either way, rest in peace to Brandon Lee. He, so many things wish could have been different. I wish they paid attention. I wish they had a real armor. Someone knew what they were doing. That person should have been arrested and charged for negligence. That's your job. Someone died because of you. I mean, if a doctor screws up an operation, are they held accountable? Maybe not. I don't know. That's just me. Well, that said, thanks for watching. Take care, and we'll see you guys later. Bye bye for now.